Good afternoon from all of us here at Julian Campbell Foundation. And in today's live, we're talking about the impact of too little and too much social media use for our young people and the impact of that on their minds. And it's already well known that too much social media use can be damaging to our young people, to their young minds. And I just want to kind of explore that. So, and in the last 10 years, especially, there seems to be a link between our young people using the smartphones and an increase in social isolation, being depressed, being anxious. And so we're just going to explore all of this. Now, about 50 or 60 years ago, having a young person that was suffering from depression was almost unheard of, completely unheard of. And depression in about 50 or 60 years ago was just seen in older people around retirement age. They're retired and then they had nothing to do with themselves or couldn't find anything to do for themselves, and they got depressed. And throughout those 60 years, each decade that's gone past, the ages of people that are suffering from depression has gone down a decade. So it started off in the 60s and the 50s and in the 40s. And now it's not uncommon to find young people, even younger than 5, that are suffering from anxiety or depression. Young children as young as 3 years old go into accident and emergency because they're having panic attacks and they're anxious. And what is all of this about? What can we do as parents? What can we do as carers to make sure that our young people's needs are taken care of? And I just want to divide the day into 2 parts, really, because we've got our children in school. So as an science teacher, and seeing how telephones and mobile phones and smartphones are kind of like change everything, really. That's a concern. I have a friend, a dear friend who's still a science teacher, and her class, without her knowing, took a picture and a video of her in the class and then put it on social media. And, I mean, how can that be? So there was a study of about 1,500 teachers talking about the disruption that smartphones or phones in general are causing in classes, due to text being sent, photographs being taken, videos being taken. There's unhealthy content and porn being watched during the sessions. And all this is deviating the teaching and learning away from the lesson. And this has a huge impact. In actual fact, there's schools that have banned mobile phones. They either have a complete ban where the young person cannot bring them into the school, or when they're going to the school, they get the mobile phones and they put them in the office, and then when they go back home in the evening or the afternoon, they take their phones back. And they've actually found in these instances where there's no mobile phones to disrupt young people from their teaching and learning, that children and young people are happier, the grades are better, and they're more sociable. Now, our young people, their brains are developing, and the research has seen that sometimes it's in their 20s or even their early 30s where where there's some equilibrium between inside and with them and their environment. And so can you imagine that? Having something like a mobile phone with everything that's there can be quite damaging to our young people. I mean, like picking up a phone or having a phone there all the time. Each time we pick up our phone and then we look at it, that in itself surges a boost of dopamine. And and sometimes we don't even know what we're looking at. We pick it up, we look at our phone, and we're probably not even looking at that much, but even that is enough to have that little shot of dopamine, make us feel good about ourselves, and then we can put the phone back down again. Can you imagine this in the young developing brain? So first of all, we're just talking about what goes on in the schools. And research is seeing that it's actually going to be much better, much calmer inside the classroom, impacting the teaching and learning if the phones weren't there. And also, when you think of some young people, they have mobile phones from when they're 8 or 9 years old, that they are being marketed, they're being attacked, and these phones are being stolen. So not only inside the school, but on their way home, we can see that there's a problem here. Now, what about mobile phones and usage at home? There's been some research that shows that in in the week time, 1 hour or 2 hours maximum a day is more than enough. It can be up to 2 hours, and in the weekend, up to 3 hours. That's more than enough. So, how do we manage this? Because a lot of times I get parents speaking with me about their children who they now on their mobile phones for about 7 hours. They're coming from school. And like I remember, because I came from school in the 80s, and we used to watch Dallas and Dynasty. Sometimes we used to watch TV for hours and hours and hours. But this is different. This is different because of the content. This is different because 80% of our children under 10 years old have already seen porn and are perturbed by what they're seeing. This is different because lots of young people that we've mentored have gone on to, they've opened their own, for example, personal account on Instagram, and there are sexually explicit images that are shown, that they see. Now, how can that happen if it's a private account? And what kind of, and it's difficult as well, because us as parents and us as adults, we have to monitor this. We have to really be in conversation with our young person to make sure that that they're being in communication with us. If there's anything that they see that's untoward, that they share that with us, because it's really important. So I would say that actually it's better that the less social media exposure that is, the better. And if there's no social media, so by social media, I'm talking about things like Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, for hours and hours and hours. For young people that are spending 7 hours plus, there is a direct link between that and mental health, self-harm, depression, anxiety. So when we're talking about reducing the amount or even stopping the amount, this has benefits, because the young person, instead of looking at their phone and interacting with that all the time, they're taking more notice about what's going on outside their environment. They are more sociable as they are fostering friendships and relationships with those outside of them. So it's much more healthier. And this is much better as well for emotional intelligence. So today we're just talking about social media and the impact. We are more used to looking at the impact of too much social media on youth mental health. But can too little social media be just as damaging? I would like to say that too little social media, I think only for having only because it's good to have a little bit of exposure, because if you've got a young person in your life, it's good if they can have access to something, WhatsApp or something like that, so then you can show them how to use it, and they can speak with you, you can give them feedback, because if they don't have it and then they have it, lots of access to it, that could be just as damaging. So it's really good just to have a little bit, up to an hour or 2 hours a day, and no more than that. So, well, what else can we do as parents and carers to make sure that our young person's needs are catered for? Because when you think about it, they haven't got the control that we would have. They wouldn't be able to stop themselves from looking at all of these images and all of these videos and all of this media, and And one good thing is to make sure that all phones and everything is taken away or switched off for 9 o'clock, because there seems to be a boost in use around 10:30 at night. And then there's an inability to stop themselves from using it, which means they don't get a lot of sleep, which really does impact their growth and their health and their development and their social and their mental health. So if you'd like to know more of this, because we do have a lot of parents coming to us and speaking with us and asking advice on what they should do, because the young person in their life has got used to use it to using social media for so many hours, and then the thought of bringing it down can be quite challenging, and learning how to do that. We have a parents group that we're starting, and would really like for you to be able to come, and it's based on my book, Runs in the Family. So we'll be looking at different aspects of parenting, such as boundaries, healthy eating habits, social media use, making sure that young people have an idea of the impact of their mood on others as well as themselves, been helping young people to be able to measure and manage themselves and manage their mood, and many other things. So we'd really like to hear from you. We've got a parents group on Facebook, but also as well, we want to have a 12-session, 12-week sessions, and it will be a dual purpose. It will be like a peer support group, and also we'll be doing some workshops as well, like hands-on workshop, so you can apply your life and your situation to use what we're doing and apply it to your life and your situation. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for from all of us here at Julian Campbell Foundation. If there's any comments that you have, please free to put them down. Any comments on what what you've experienced with too much or too little social media in the lives of your young ones. And we're going to see you again next week. So we'll see you next Friday on that video, and wishing you all a fantastic weekend from us here at the Foundation. Bye.